The National Electrical Code, specifically Section 517.30e, addresses the requirement for emergency system-powered receptacles and cover plates to be distinctively colored or readily identifiable. This section does not mandate that receptacles or cover plates be read to comply with the code. Instead, the NEC provides for flexibility in how these devices can be made easily recognizable. There are several acceptable methods for achieving this. Firstly, using a different shape or size than standard receptacles and cover plates. This visual distinction can immediately alert personnel to the receptacle's emergency power source. For example, a circular receptacle could be used in place of a standard duplex receptacle, or an oversized cover plate could be installed. Secondly, labeling the receptacles and cover plates with the words emergency power or emergency use only. Clear and concise labeling leaves no room for misinterpretation. This can be achieved using pre-printed labels, engraving, or permanent markers. The labeling should be durable and resistant to fading or damage. Thirdly, using a unique color for the wiring or conduit that supplies the emergency receptacles and cover plates. This method extends the identification beyond the receptacle itself, tracing the power source back to its origin. For instance, blue conduit or orange wiring could be exclusively used for emergency circuits. The color coding should be consistent throughout the entire emergency power system. Fourthly, using a different type of receptacle, such as a twist lock or hospital-grade receptacle. Twist lock receptacles require a specific twisting motion to insert and remove the plug, preventing accidental disconnection. Hospital-grade receptacles are designed for demanding environments and feature enhanced durability and grounding reliability. The selection of the most suitable method for readily identifying emergency receptacles and cover plates depends on the specific application and the environment in which they are installed. Consider factors such as lighting conditions, visibility, and the potential for confusion with other electrical devices. Regardless of the chosen method, the ultimate goal is to create a system that is easily recognizable and will not be mistaken for standard electrical outlets. This is crucial for ensuring the proper functioning of emergency equipment during power outages or other critical situations. Regularly inspect and maintain the identification system to ensure its continued effectiveness. Replace any damaged or faded labels and verify the integrity of the color coding on wiring and conduit. By implementing a comprehensive and well-maintained identification system, it is possible to comply with NEC 517.30e and enhance the safety and reliability of emergency power systems. Always consult with a qualified electrical professional to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. When determining the specific method for identifying emergency power receptacles, it's crucial to consider the environment in which they will be used. In a hospital setting, for instance, using hospital-grade receptacles as the identifier might be advantageous due to their enhanced reliability and the familiarity of healthcare professionals with this type of receptacle. In an industrial environment, using a different shape or size of receptacle might be more effective due to the potentially harsh conditions and the need for a highly visible identifier. Labeling, while generally effective, should be supplemented with another method of identification in areas where labels might be easily damaged or obscured. The type of equipment that will be connected to the emergency power receptacle should also be taken into account. If the equipment requires a specific type of receptacle, such as a twist lock, this can be incorporated into the identification strategy. When using color coding for wiring and conduit, ensure that the chosen color is not already used for other systems in the building. Consistency is key to avoiding confusion. The identification method should be documented in the facility's electrical drawings and procedures. This ensures that all personnel are aware of the system and can properly identify emergency power receptacles. Training should be provided to personnel who may need to use the emergency power receptacles, emphasizing the importance of proper identification and the potential consequences of using a standard receptacle instead. The NEC handbook provides additional guidance and examples of acceptable identification methods for emergency power receptacles. Refer to the handbook for clarification and best practices. Local codes and regulations may have additional requirements for identifying emergency power receptacles. Always check with the local authorities to ensure compliance. Consider the use of illuminated labels or markers for emergency power receptacles in areas with low lighting conditions. This can significantly improve visibility and reduce the risk of errors. Regularly test the emergency power system and the identification system to ensure that they are functioning properly. This includes verifying that the correct equipment is connected to the emergency power receptacles and that the identification is clear and unambiguous. In some cases, it may be necessary to use a combination of methods to achieve adequate identification of emergency power receptacles. For example, using both labeling and a different shape of receptacle can provide a redundant layer of identification. When selecting an identification method, consider the cost and ease of implementation. Some methods, such as using a different type of receptacle, may be more expensive than others, such as labeling. However, the long-term benefits of improved safety and reliability may outweigh the initial cost. The identification method should be easily adaptable to changes in the facility's electrical system. As equipment is added or removed, the identification system should be updated accordingly. In facilities with a large number of emergency power receptacles, it may be helpful to create a map or directory that shows the location of each receptacle and its corresponding identification. This can be particularly useful for maintenance personnel and emergency responders. When replacing existing receptacles, ensure that the new receptacles are properly identified in accordance with the current codes and regulations. This is an opportunity to upgrade the identification system and improve its effectiveness. Consider using tamper-resistant receptacles for emergency power outlets in areas where children or unauthorized personnel may have access. This can help to prevent accidental disconnections or tampering with the electrical system. The use of surge protection devices is recommended for emergency power receptacles to protect sensitive equipment from voltage spikes and other electrical disturbances. These devices should be properly labeled and identified as part of the emergency power system. Regularly inspect the surge protection devices to ensure that they are functioning properly. In areas where flammable materials are present, explosion-proof receptacles and cover plates should be used for emergency power outlets. These devices are designed to prevent sparks or arcs from igniting flammable materials. The use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, is recommended for emergency power receptacles in wet or damp locations to protect personnel from electrical shock. The GFCI should be tested regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. Consider the use of automatic transfer switches, or ATSs, to automatically switch power to the emergency power system in the event of a power outage. The ATS should be regularly maintained and tested to ensure that they are functioning properly. In facilities with critical operations, such as hospitals or data centers, it is essential to have a backup generator to provide emergency power in the event of a prolonged power outage. The generator should be regularly maintained and tested to ensure that it is capable of providing the required power. The emergency power system should be designed to meet the specific needs of the facility. This includes considering the types of equipment that will be powered by the emergency system, the duration of the expected power outages, and the environmental conditions in which the system will operate. The emergency power system should be regularly inspected and tested by qualified personnel. This includes verifying the functionality of the generator, the ATS, the receptacles, and all other components of the system. The results of the inspections and tests should be documented and maintained for future reference. The emergency power system should be designed to be easily expandable to accommodate future growth and changes in the facility's electrical needs. This includes providing sufficient capacity in the generator, the ATS, and the distribution panels. The emergency power system should be designed to be energy efficient to minimize operating costs. This includes using energy-efficient lighting, appliances, and other equipment. The emergency power system should be designed to be environmentally friendly to minimize its impact on the environment. This includes using renewable energy sources, such as solar or wind power, where feasible. The emergency power system should be designed to be resilient to withstand natural disasters such as hurricanes, earthquakes, and floods. This includes locating the generator and other critical equipment in areas that are not susceptible to flooding or damage from high winds. The emergency power system should be designed to be secure to prevent unauthorized access or tampering. This includes installing security cameras, alarms, and other security measures. The emergency power system should be designed to be user-friendly to make it easy for authorized personnel to operate and maintain. This includes providing clear and concise instructions and training. The emergency power system should be designed to be cost-effective to minimize the overall cost of the system. This includes considering the initial cost, the operating costs, and the maintenance costs. The emergency power system should be designed to be reliable to ensure that it will function properly when needed. This includes using high-quality components and following industry best practices. The emergency power system should be designed to be safe to protect personnel and equipment from electrical hazards. This includes following all applicable codes and regulations and using appropriate safety measures. The emergency power system should be designed to be compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. This includes the National Electrical Code, the National Fire Protection Association standards, and local codes and regulations. The emergency power system should be documented thoroughly to provide a complete record of the system's design, installation, operation, and maintenance. This documentation should be readily available to authorized personnel. The emergency power system should be regularly reviewed and updated to ensure that it continues to meet the needs of the facility. This review should include considering changes in the facility's electrical needs, advances in technology, and changes in codes and regulations. The emergency power system is a critical component of any facility that requires a reliable source of power during emergencies. By following these guidelines, it is possible to design, install, operate, and maintain an emergency power system that is safe, reliable, cost-effective, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Proper identification of emergency power receptacles is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of the system. Remember that the absence of red does not imply the absence of a clear and effective identification strategy. The key is to choose a method or combination of methods that clearly distinguishes emergency power receptacles from standard receptacles, thereby preventing confusion and ensuring the proper functioning of critical equipment during emergencies.